Hello and welcome to a TMCnet interview. My name is Rich Tarani. Thanks for watching us today. Chris Bailey is with us. He's with a company called FileCatalyst. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Surviving, right? Hopefully.
I'm in the home office today like I am every day since March, and just doing my thing. And I'm in Connecticut, and you're located in Canada, right?
Yeah, we're in Ottawa. Yeah, and I'm in my office today. There's only two of us in here out of, usual 30, but a little bit quieter here. No dog, no kids running in. So made the trip in for maybe the fifth time since March.
So I'm excited to talk with you. It's funny, I went in once to the office that had my video camera because when I tried to order one, the webcam, there weren't any, and I didn't have one at home. So I had to, you just couldn't get one. I think it was like a 2-month wait. So that's the
Yeah.
one time I went in to get the webcam. And speaking of working from home, it's an area that companies like yours have helped a lot with. And I figured, why don't you tell us, uh, just give us like the overview of what FileCatalyst does.
Yeah, I'll start with that. And then if you want, just as a segue, what you just said, with the shift to working from home, how does FileCatalyst help with that? I can hit both of those up. So just a quick, 2-minute overview. We were founded back in 2000 as Unlimited Software. And what we did and what we still do is file transfer. But back then we were dealing more with legacy technologies like FTP and SFTP. And what we noticed over the first few years of the 2000s up to 2004 is there was a big uptick in usage of our software by the media and entertainment industry. And during that time, media and entertainment were kind of going through a shift from tape to digital. And what would happen is they ended up shipping hard drives and that sort of thing, as opposed to shipping reels of tape. And what we had was a web-based tool for them to transfer files digitally if they had bandwidth available. So right around like 2003, 2004, bandwidth started to get a little bit less expensive and more accessible. And right around that same time, video formats started to shift from SD to HD. So the quality and the size of the video file started to grow. We noticed that there was a big uptick in our user base of media and entertainment customers. And so we came up with a solution to make things even faster, and that was FileCatalyst. So that was a product that we built in around 2005. And since then, FileCatalyst has kind of surpassed our company name, Unlimited Software, and now we're actually doing business as FileCatalyst because that was the brand that kind of took off. And so what FileCatalyst does is it allows not just media and entertainment, but any industry really who has big files, and trust me, files are just growing exponentially, anywhere from video files to seismic data to genomic data, medical imaging. Everything's getting higher and higher resolution, and so the need for a solution to transfer those files faster is continuing to grow. And so just to segue to what you mentioned, everybody working from home, what we noticed last March and April is as everybody kind of got locked down, work has proceeded, particularly with the media and entertainment industry. Instead of sitting there editing videos in your office, now you're in your home office. But the storage and everywhere where things are stored is, perhaps back in your central office. So people need to now move files back and forth and share files a lot more than they had to previously. Even, people were using our software for that in the past, but it just continued to increase with the pandemic. So as you can imagine, someone's editing a file, they got to get it back in for someone else to look at, they got to do their bit, and then, get it along the chain to the finished product. And that's where FileCatalyst has really been helping people during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's really exciting because one of the biggest challenges, like you said, working from home is figuring out how to be as effective from the home office as you are in the office. And a lot of times that means dealing with getting your files to the home office and then getting them back to a central server, whether it's an intranet or a cloud or wherever these files need to be, or sending them to other people. And you have a relatively unique way of transferring the files, right? I mean, use a different technology than some.
Yeah, that's right. So what makes us stand apart from just your typical online, go and send a link and then go download it? That's using something called TCP. and we use UDP. And so the difference is that with TCP, as you get further away from the place you're transferring the files geographically, there's something called network latency. And legacy technologies like TCP and anything built on it, like when you download with your web browser or you send via email, is affected by that distance, and it'll go slower and slower the further you are away. So if you're working with international teams, it's not ideal, even across the country. And it doesn't just slow down based on how far you are. As bandwidth gets more and more, so if you get above a gigabit or up to 10 gigabits, even if you're local, it still slows down. And so what FileCatalyst does, it allows you to maximize that speed regardless of the bandwidth and regardless of the geographic location. And so that's the core technology, but then we've built all those features that make it easy to use on top of it. So you can send with FileCatalyst a link to your colleague, and they click and when you're sending it, it kind of lands on a central server, and then they get a link to download it. But all those transfers are done using our technology. If you did that with traditional technologies, the part of sending it would be slower, the part of them downloading it would be slower. We remove those bottlenecks. We also have solutions where you can just make a watch folder on your desktop. So if you want to just drag and drop a file in, it will automatically, on a schedule, check that folder and upload it to a certain location or send it to a colleague. Those are the types of features we've built on top of it just to manage those file transfers. But at the back end, we just kind of hidden all that secret sauce and the stuff that makes it fast. You don't really care about that. You just want to know that the file is getting from A to B as fast as possible. And that's what we do. We make that technology, but we make easy ways for our end users to use it, and we try to cover as many use cases as possible across all the different verticals that we sell into.
That's really exciting because I know that your company is in a lot of those different markets, right? From video production to medical. What are some of the other spaces where your product is shining and you're helping your customers?
Well, I think genomics is an exciting one. It's up and coming for file transfer, and sequencing, DNA and that sort of thing generates these massive files, and a lot of the data that they work with needs to be processed by supercomputers, and these supercomputers are only located in specific areas of the world. And so to get it there, and usually it's on a university campus in Geneva or somewhere like that, and so they got to get it over there in order to process on these supercomputers, because they're run-of-the-mill computers locally would take a year to do the same work that it might take a half a day or a couple of hours. So that's one area. Medical imaging, as I mentioned earlier, the resolution of video is getting bigger, but so is medical imaging. They can take, the images slices of pictures from your body and build up a whole 3D model. And each of these slices, such high resolution, when you put it all together, this comprises like a massive file. And experts in various medical fields are located, again, around the world. How do they get these files there for analysis? And then you go into like the oil and gas industry. They're always looking around for deposits of oil, mining, and that sort of thing, and they use different radar techniques or seismic techniques to generate this data and kind of find deposits of whatever they're looking for. And that data, again, needs to go back somewhere. Usually it's a vessel in the middle of the ocean or some remote area. They need to get the data back to a central location for analysis. So, as you mentioned, videos just kind of started the whole wave for us, because that's where the files just grew big really quick. But now a lot of the other industries are starting to catch up. And so there's not just the media and entertainment. It's, like I said, the medical imaging, genomics, oil and gas. And then there's just some black ops stuff that we don't know, aerial surveillance going on with drones. And, we don't even know what's going on with that stuff. But some of our customers, in the government use it for various things like that. And one of the cooler ones we had early on was actually, it was deployed by the National Science Foundation in Antarctica to send, they're detecting neutrinos. And they had a satellite connection that was only visible for 6 hours a day from Antarctica back to Denver, Colorado. And they would use us, and automatically we would detect when that window was available to send, and we maximize their satellite links, sending that data back from Antarctica back so it could be analyzed at the university. So, that was way back in 2006. So a lot of use cases since then, and it continues to grow with the way that people have moved to this remote distributed work environment with COVID.
That's great. Now, competitively, what are some of the other choices that companies are uh, considering or switching away from when they come to you? How does that work?
Well, a lot of companies come to us because they don't have a standard solution. And so one, they might have a solution, but it's slower using legacy technologies. Or two, they might be using like a hodgepodge of different technologies. Like one person will use this service, the other will use this service, and they have no control over who uses what. And so with a solution like FileCatalyst, if you implement our workflow or FileCatalyst Spaces solution, you get all those features, but you're now in control of it. It's standardized, it's fast, it's secure. So those are some of the reasons why, just in terms of, consolidating into one solution that you control, or you just need the speed. And just versus our competitors out there, because there is a number of them out there that range in size, all the way from IBM down to companies that are really small. And the difference that sets us apart from them is things like we're kind of big enough to serve enterprises, but we're at that sweet spot where you still feel like you're dealing with, a smaller company. So you talk to support, it's knowledgeable. You're not talking to some call center on the other side of the world. You're not given the runaround. When you're coming and talking to us as well, we have a lot more flexible licensing options. So we have a lot of kind of foot in the door pricing schemes that you just don't get with the bigger guys. And what they'll do is, if it's not a six-figure deal, they don't want to talk to you. Go talk to some reseller in the other side of the world. I mean, we're not that. We have the speed, we have the ease of use, and we cover all those use cases. But at the same time, we're actually approachable. You can talk to us. You can express what your problems are, and we'll help you. We'll add stuff to the software to help you, and we have the flexible and reasonable pricing as well on top of that. So, I mean, just a few reasons why you would choose us over competing solutions.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I was going to ask you, advice you could give a company that's looking for some kind of file transfer solution, but I think a broader, more pressing question would be, what sorts of companies could benefit from a solution in this space, and how what sorts of signs are there in an organization that they should be at least considering a product in this market? And then the second part would be, just give them advice on picking a product within the market. What should they be looking for?
Okay, so the first part, I think it's so broad now. If you asked me this 10 years ago, it would have been, well, one, you got to have the ROI. So we send files fast, and that's our claim to fame, and that's what you pay for. Bottom line, there's other solutions out there that can do a lot of the features that we do, the feature level, but without the speed. So if you have a situation where you have a workflow where file needs to get from A to B for someone else to look at or be processed, and you lose money by that being slower, or you gain money by that being faster, that's when you want to look at a file catalyst. And that is over a wide range. I mentioned some of the different industries of consider this. So if you're paying for a 10 gigabit internet pipe and you need to send, and you're just paying a lot for that link, and you need to send files to the other side of the country or the other side of the world, and you're only utilizing 5 or 10% of that capacity, and you're sitting there wondering, well, I'm spending all this money on the bandwidth, why can't I only get this much through? That's when you say, I need to look at something like FileCatalyst. And you can beat that problem with a hammer by just sending 100 or 200 files at a time. But what if you only have a couple files to send? They're just really big. That's when you look at FileCatalyst. So in general, it's an IT problem, and most of the prospects that come and talk to us are IT managers and IT folks who are trying to solve that exact issue. It's something that you got to kind of encounter first and realize once I've paid for the upgrade. Hey, it didn't make my transfers faster. Then you realize, okay, I need something to kind of maximize my infrastructure. So that's when you would come to us. Now, the second part you asked is, what are some of the considerations, I guess, when you're doing research and recommendations? So you got to really figure out what's important to you. As I mentioned, there's other competitors in this market for extreme file transfer, and there's different things to consider. Speed, security, ease of use, price, feature set, like I mentioned, friendly support, partner ecosystem. Maybe you have third-party tools you use, you want it to interact well with that. So you really got to kind of check the boxes of what's important to you and see who fits the bill the best. I'm not going to go say we're better at everything than all of our competitors, because quite honestly, I can't say that. I know what we're good at, and what we're good at is we are fast. We're one of the fastest, if not the fastest. We have an extensive set of use cases that we cover. We are easy to use. And we're not IBM. Like we've got approachable support. You call it, you're getting someone who's very knowledgeable, and you're only 1 degree separation away from the developer team with us. And the other thing that we're strong at is our integration. So we've built an extensive partner ecosystem. So especially media and entertainment, if you work with any of the big MAM providers or workflow providers, storage providers, we integrate with pretty much all of them well. And we do that because we have a really extensive software development kit. So we give you that, in addition to the easy to use products, we give you that low level ability to integrate it with your existing stuff. So, and a lot of our partners have taken that and run with it. So we fit in well. So, and as I mentioned, we have, consider pricing. If you are getting started out and you're a smaller company, you don't want to have the massive commitment up front, well, we have the pay-as-you-go options. We have monthly subscriptions, pay by the gigabyte as it goes. So to a large extent, we offer all the same features that a lot of our competitors do, but just with a lot more flexibility. And, we're just generally more likable people.
That's great. Is there anything else we should know?
I think we covered it all. I would just say, go and check out if any of what I said resonate with you. You have moved remote and you have been wondering why transfers are slow, or you're planning on upgrading your infrastructure, getting higher bandwidth connections and stuff. Just have it in the back of your mind that you may see some of these problems rising up in the next month or two after, or at least, shortly after you upgrade your infrastructure, and know that FileCatalyst is an option to help there. We do offer free trials. So what we typically do is you come in, kind of describe your use case, and we will hands-on or just hand it over to you, and you can do it yourself, get you up and running so you can actually try some of the things that I mentioned, make sure it works. And then if it's a good solution for you, then, we go from there. If not, then whatever. But like I said, you really just focus on the things that I mentioned, the different aspects of a managed file transfer solution, what's important to you, and then if it's not us, it might be someone else. But those are the things you definitely need to look at. Like I said, speed, security, ease of use, features, friendly support, and just you want to like who you're dealing with as well.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being on the program today. This was great.
Yeah, thanks, Rich.